When you first walk into a foundry, there's big machines. There's burning metal. There's thick black dust. It's from the casting process. It's all like burnt sand. It's a very intense place to be. The first time I walked into a foundry when I was just getting started in metalsmiths, there were these, kind of impractical for being around burning metal. But I made it out. My feet made it out intact. And I came out stronger for a couple of reasons. I had gone where there were very few women. I was fearful. I didn't know a lot at the time about metals. And I came out with more knowledge and a euphoric sense of accomplishment. There are not a lot of women in the metal fields, both in the old craftsman way of doing it and in the modern manufacturing fields. Let me just give you like 3 quick examples of the numbers. Out of all the metallurgists in the country, that's the people that study metals and how they interact with each other and other elements, only 13% are women. If you take all the welders and all the fabricators in this world and you combine them into one big pile of numbers, only 4.8% of them are women. If you take all of the tool and die makers, those are the people that make the jigs that go on the machines that then make something, only 1.3% are chicks. Now, when you bring an opposite gender into a traditionally genderized field, you can actually create a lot of excitement and change and passion. What? Oh, you're laughing at that, sorry. It's true. So back in the late 1800s, if you were to read an advertisement in the paper for a cook, it would read something like this: wanted a gentlewoman to be simple cook and house cleaner. Or seeking an elderly woman to help with household chores and cooking. Or even, we'll take a woman to cook and clean, small child allowed. None of the ads were ever for men. Why? Cooking was a genderized role back then. Fast forward today, men have come into the culinary profession. They've created this cooking renaissance. The cooking field now is mostly men, right? They brought new passion, new ideas, probably saved some of the old ways or brought them back. Now, I'm a woman, that's not me, but it's someone I know. I'm a woman in the metals field. Sometimes obscure, certainly puts me in an interesting position sometimes because it's all the guys in the foundry and me, but I'm not alone. I learned about it because I wanted to create a cooking experience for my family, and that brought me into learning about metals, and learning more about metals and cookware, and that meant that I was going to be part of this generation of people that was starting to look at authentic ways of doing things. I'm not alone. There are whole movements going towards living more authentically and genuinely and getting our hands in the crafts again. If you look, there's organic blogs. This is how you live authentically. This is how you get into old crafts. There are magazines dedicated to that style of life. The hipster movement, trendy movement, but they also are about living authentically, living organically, living with your hands in the crafts. Etsy, 1.6 million salespeople and craftspeople, I think, at last count. But out of all of them, very tiny few work in the metal crafts. There are not numbers on the blacksmiths, coppersmiths, tinsmiths in this world, and there's certainly no data on how many of them are women. And they can't keep up with the work. There's a thirst, there's a drive for these crafts that are dying. The metal craft especially, they can't keep up. There's a guy I met when I'm working in my metal crafts, and he and his son operate this big machinery that makes little tiny metal pieces that are used in everything from window blinds to cookware, and they can't find people to help them run the machinery. That's modern stuff. That's fabricating, that's machinery, that's manufacturing stuff we use every day in our own houses, and the knowledge on how to do that is disappearing. When they are done, that information is gone. That knowledge is gone. What does that mean for us? That means if you go, I'm gonna make something in America and I'm gonna do this really cool craft and I need help finding it, no one will remember how to do it. You'll have to leave your area, you'll have to go overseas to get it made, to get the tool made for the machine to make your piece. All of that information is gone. So how do we save these crafts, these bedrocks of our American manufacturing culture from disappearing? Well, we bring in the population that's not really helping that yet. We're not in it. Chicks are not doing a lot of metal stuff. Why? I think because we're afraid. If someone had said to me 5 years ago, you're going to get into metal craft someday, I'd be like, ha ha ha, no, 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 not me. I am too afraid to touch that. I don't know anything about it. I'm too scared to learn. It's too much. It's not where a chick goes. Well, I've learned better. And I know now that we need to save this information. And the people that can help do that are other women. We can start stepping in where there's these voids and learn and keep these crafts, both vintage and modern, from disappearing off of our country's map of knowledge. What's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to learn something. What's the best? You might do something extraordinary with that knowledge. You might change the profession, breathe new life into it, keep it from disappearing for another generation. Women should feel encouraged to escape that fear within. Millennial women, like me, more than ever, have these porous borders between genderized roles. We can do things we never could do before. We can learn things even more and more than ever before. So, you might have to do it wearing these are steel-toe boots. Aren't they cute? I highly recommend Amazon. They're awesome. And you might not need to wear them to learn, to save some information, to help create the crafts that go on to the next generation. You might be able to do it all wearing pretty little ballet flats. Thank you.